All right, so in this lesson is a brief lesson for point-slope form. And what we talked about before is the slope Y-intercept form. And here it is right here, y equals mx plus b. And in this form, all you need to generate an equation for the line is the slope and the y-intercept. If you have those two, you can easily use this form of a line. Now, the problem is if you have a situation like this and you don't know what the y-intercept is, you can maybe guess, but you don't know for sure. This is all you're given. And so you can generate an equation for the line just given this information, and that's where the point-slope form comes in. Okay? So, let's talk about that point-slope form. Let's just write that out right now. So the point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Just like the famous song, right? That you guys just heard. It is very famous. There is a song on the MathWell channel, if you want to look it up, point-slope form. You'll never forget this. But anyways, tell me what this is very similar to. Does this remind you of anything else? Sorry? Y-intercept? Not what I'm looking for. What is this very similar to? Okay, what about, okay, that's very good. That's what I'm looking for. What about y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1? Remember that? This is very, very close to the formula for the slope. You're right. And we're actually going to need to use this. Whoops, x2 minus x1. We're going to need to use this as well. But you see, this form of a line is actually derived from the formula for the slope. So it actually comes from that. Okay? Now we don't see y2 in here because we are not calculating the slope in the form of a line. We are leaving x and y in the equation. So this x doesn't change into a point and this y doesn't change into a coordinate for a point. They stay as x and y. Okay, so let's just back up a little bit. We're going to find the slope here. So let's just say that we have 2 points. Let's replace x1, y1 and x2, y2 with actual points. Okay? Let's say this looks like 2, 5. Okay? And this one over here, it looks like, let's say it's 4, 3. Okay? That's pretty reasonable. Now, without the y-intercept, we can't use slope y-intercept form. But we're going to find the slope. And so here's the format for the slope. So which one is y2? Doesn't matter. Usually I take the one on the right to be y2. So let's start with that. y2 right here. y1. So that's 3 minus 5 over x2 minus x1. 4 minus 2. So 3 minus 5 is what? Negative 2. Thank you. I was hoping someone wasn't going to say positive 2 because that's you got to be careful there. That's a negative 2. And 4 minus 2 is positive 2. Okay. So the slope is negative 1. Okay. The slope is negative 1. So I got the slope now, and that's checked off right here. And now I need a point. And guess what? We're given 2. Now, what you need to realize is that it doesn't matter which point you pick. Your equation of the line may look a little bit different than someone else's, but that doesn't mean it's a different line. It just means it's a different. It's just a different version of the same line. Okay? Because we can have equations that look a little bit different, but still be the same line, right? So it actually doesn't matter which point you use, because it will still form sort of the machine for solving x and y in the context of this line. So it doesn't matter which point you use. So someone may pick this point, okay, 2, 5, and this is what you do. The y stays as y, but you put the 5 in here, minus 5. Okay? And the slope right here is negative 1. So we'll put the 1 there for now, just so it's clear. And then this x in this form of a line stays as x. You don't replace this one. Only the x1 and y1. And so the x, of course, with the same point, you've got to use the same point, is 2 minus 2. Okay? Now, this is the equation of the line in point-slope form. just like that. The only thing that I would recommend you doing, and right now I'm not going to mark it wrong, but you want to get in the habit of not really writing -1 as a coefficient. What you would do is just write negative like this. Okay, that's the proper way to do that in math. Okay, so it's not wrong, but that's the proper way. Just to put a negative sign out there, you don't really record 1 as a coefficient. Got it? Okay. So that's what it looks like. It looks kind of funny, doesn't it? It does look kind of funny. But if you're given an equation of a line like this, you can quickly, again, if we just work backwards, you can quickly point out a couple things. The slope is right here. Oh, so you say the slope is -1. And a point, okay, so x1, y1, that's one of the points on the line, okay, is going to be, where's the x position? Okay, here's x. So this is going to be the x value. Now, the tricky part is the format says minus. X minus the x value. So what you have to do is you have to switch the sign here. If that's a -2, you make it a +2 because we're subtracting a positive number. See that? So you just remember to flip the sign. Y minus y1. So what are we subtracting? We're actually subtracting a +5. So there's our point. So you see how I can quickly get the slope and the point from the line. And if I have the point and the slope from a line, how easy is it then to actually graph that? Well, it's very easy. Let me show you. You start with a point. If you're going to graph now, you start with the point. 2, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you put that point down there. Then you take the slope and you go from the point you just plotted and you go down 1 and over 1. That's what the slope is, rise over run. So we'll go down 1 and over 1, and we'll put our next point right there. Down 1, over 1, down 1. You getting the picture there? And so here is the line, and, well, if I could draw straight with this tablet of mine here. Yep, somewhere in the middle there is where I want it. Okay, let's see if we can get it here. Good. And there's the line. And that looks pretty close to the line that we generated the equation from, right? Okay. Questions about that? That's point-slope form. That's how to generate an equation in point-slope form, and how to get some information from the graph, or from the equation to graph it. Okay?